I used to brag about living in the safest neighborhood in the entire state. A quiet cul-de-sac tucked under tall maple trees, where porch lights stayed warm and steady, and the loudest sound at night was someone rolling their trash cans to the curb. At 23, working my first real job and finally living alone, I felt proud of my little rental house, even if most of my furniture was mismatched or thrifted. For the first time, I felt independent, safe, comfortable, and I didn't realize that comfort was exactly what hid the danger already forming in my own home. The morning everything began, I stepped outside with a mug of coffee and my hoodie half zipped. My neighbor Howard was already outside trimming his hedges. If you asked anyone on the street who the friendliest person was, they'd point at him. Middle-aged, soft-spoken, always in the same faded cargo shorts. He waved at me with that gentle smile he always wore and nodded toward my porch. "Lights flickering again," he said. "You don't want strangers thinking nobody's home." I laughed, told him I'd replace it, and walked to my car. But the way he said strangers, it sat in the back of my mind a little longer than it should. Work was long and uneventful. The kind of shift that numbs your instincts. When I got home, I replaced the porch bulb like I promised, made dinner, and flopped on the couch scrolling through YouTube. At one point, I paused a video because I thought I heard something faint overhead. A soft shift, like something adjusting weight. The house made noises sometimes, but recently I'd been hearing them a bit more often. I chalked it up to temperature changes or old insulation settling. Nothing worth worrying about. So I brushed it off. Around 11:45 p.m., I went through my normal routine. Shower, teeth, checking window locks, turning off lights. The kitchen nightlight had flickered earlier, which wasn't unusual. That outlet had always been loose. I told myself I'd fix it the next day. Everything else seemed completely normal. Now I realized that was the last moment I'd ever feel that kind of normal in that house. Sometime after midnight, I dozed off on the couch. I kept telling myself I'd get up after one more video. But the next thing I knew, the TV had paused itself, and the house felt noticeably colder. And then, at exactly 1:13 a.m., I heard it. A soft, deliberate click from somewhere toward the back of the house. A door closing, slowly, controlled. Not drifting shut, not settling on its own. Someone closing it. My eyes shot open, my heart slammed into my ribs. My mind scrambled for explanations, but only one felt real. Someone was inside. I sat up carefully and let my eyes adjust to the dark. Immediately, I noticed something off. The hallway, usually glowing faintly from the kitchen nightlight, was completely pitch black. The outlet must have finally given out earlier, but in that moment, the darkness felt intentional. I stood slowly and stepped toward my bedroom. Halfway down the hall, my phone lit up with a silent notification. The glow washed across the wall for a half second. Just long enough to show a shadow move, a tall silhouette stood near the kitchen entrance. And the moment the light appeared, it shifted backward into the darkness. Not startled, not clumsy, controlled. Like it had been there, watching, waiting for darkness to return. My breath caught in my throat. I stared into the shadows, but there was nothing to make sense of. Just a silent outline blending into the dark. "Hello?" I whispered, even though I already knew there would be no answer. And there wasn't. But I heard something else. Not breathing, something more subtle. A faint shift of weight, the soft scrape of a shoe on the hardwood floor. Someone was definitely there. They were blocking the back door. To reach the front door, I'd have to pass the open archway to the kitchen, right beside where the figure stood. Upstairs would trap me. That left only one place behind me, the basement. The silhouette took one slow step forward. That was enough. I spun around, moved quickly down the hall, slipped into the basement stairwell, and eased the door shut behind me. I didn't dare turn on the light. The last thing I wanted was to reveal exactly where I was. The basement was cluttered. Boxes, unused furniture, shadows piled in corners. I crouched under the staircase, pressing myself into the darkest space I could find. For several moments, the house above me was perfectly silent. Then faint footsteps creaked across the floorboards. Slow, deliberate, not searching frantically, moving with caution, listening for movement. As if he was trying to understand which part of the house I had retreated into. I covered my mouth with my hand. Every breath felt like it echoed. Then my phone buzzed against my palm. A small vibration that sounded like thunder in the silence. It was a text from my best friend, Mia. "Hey, you up? I can't sleep." The screen lit up my face and panic shot through me. I flipped it downward and held it against my chest. 10 seconds later, the phone started ringing. Without thinking, I answered immediately. "Mia," I whispered. "Someone's in my house. Call 911. Now." Her breathing sharpened. "Stay hidden. Don't say anything else. I'm calling." She hung up. The minutes that followed felt stretched and distorted. I listened to the slow, steady movement above me. A door hinge creaking, a soft scrape against the wall. The kind of sound someone makes when they're checking rooms carefully, deliberately. My legs were shaking from crouching so long, but I didn't move. Then faint outside, I heard sirens. Distant at first, growing louder, closer. Above me, footsteps sped up. A door near the back of the house opened and then clicked shut. He was trying to escape. Seconds later, the front door burst open and voices thundered across the entryway. Police! Clear left. Check the hall. I scrambled out from under the stairs and yelled, "Down here!" My voice cracked from fear and adrenaline. Two officers guided me upstairs, steadying me as my legs trembled. They sat me on the couch while others swept through the house. A minute later, a voice crackled over the radio. "We've got someone running through the yard. Bringing him in now." When I stood and looked toward the open door, my breath caught in my throat. In handcuffs, restrained between officers, was Howard. Howard, the friendly neighbor, the man who waved every morning, the man who always noticed the smallest details around my house. But the look he gave me wasn't guilt or anger. It was calculation, cold, familiar. And for the first time, it wasn't just fear I felt. It was betrayal. He had smiled at me for months, asked about my day, made small talk like a friend, while living above me the entire time. Over the next several days, everything unraveled. The spare key I thought I lost months earlier, he had taken it, copied it, used it. Those faint attic noises I dismissed. Officers found a small setup in the insulation, blankets, wrappers, bottles, and space cleared where someone had repeatedly moved around. He had been living above me, coming down when I was away, learning the sounds of the house, learning my routines. The porch light he noticed, tampered with, the kitchen nightlight, unplugged before I woke up. He wasn't improvising, he was preparing. Then officers showed me the notebook recovered from the attic crawl space. Pages upon pages of observations. When he leaves for work, when he comes home, back door unlocked today, up late tonight, lights out 12:47 a.m., and scattered throughout dozens of pages, the same phrase written again and again, missed opportunity. That was when the full truth hit me. Howard hadn't broken in randomly. He had been studying me, waiting for a moment when my guard was down, a moment that almost came that night. One officer said quietly, "You interrupted him before he reached whatever he was planning." I moved out within a week. I couldn't stay another night. Every creak in the walls sent a jolt of panic through me. Every shadow in the hallway felt like someone standing too still. Knowing someone had lived above me without my knowledge, watching me breathe, move, sleep, settled into my chest like a weight I couldn't shake. Months later, even in a new place with new locks and new neighbors, sometimes at night a house shift will make me tense up. Or I'll pause before turning off the last light. Or I'll look twice down a dark hallway. Because I learned something that night. Danger doesn't always hide outside. Sometimes it hides in the quiet, familiar places you trust the most. If I hadn't woken up when I did, if my phone screen hadn't lit the hallway, if Mia hadn't texted at that exact moment, I don't know that I'd be telling this story. So if something feels off in your home, a sound that doesn't belong, a door that moves, a light that changes, trust it. Your instincts notice truths long before your mind wants to accept them. Because the scariest part of all this wasn't seeing Howard in handcuffs. It was realizing he had been waiting for the moment I didn't notice him at all.